call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. Can everyone hear me okay? Because I know there's a little bit of an echo and we're kind of really far apart. But I want to go ahead and call the regular meeting of the Community Services Commission meeting to order and welcome all of you. I know that we have some new faces here tonight, including myself. So I would like to, and some of our staff, and we'll go over staff tonight, but I would like to start with some formal introductions. If we can just kind of be a little bit on the louder side so we can all hear each other, especially with our masks and you know, it being a large room. So if we want to go ahead and start with Dr. Zach, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll just go around the room this way.
Hello, I'm Dr. Zach.
And my name is Dave Myers.
My name is Herb Redholz.
My name is Cecilia Munoz.
Jennifer Gutierrez. We'll go back here. Hi, good evening. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Looking for my name, please.
Oh, okay. Torres, can you just help me find his name?
I'm Robert Torres.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much. And the staff with us here tonight, I'll go ahead and introduce myself first. My name is Susie Perez. I'm the Acting Community Services Manager, and I will be starting off the meeting tonight. And once we select our chair and our vice chair, we will go ahead and hand the meeting over to our chair. We also have our city manager, David Carmody, here with us tonight. We have Mira Roberts, our administrative assistant too, Mike Cressup, our public services superintendent, and Deborah Johnson, our administrative assistant too, here with us as well. They're going to be helping us take video and all of our notes. So let's go ahead and take a moment of silence and for prayer or meditation. So if you guys can, and then we'll follow with a pledge of allegiance. If you can please bow your heads. Thank you. And tonight I'll be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you can please stand and face the flag. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I believe we missed one commissioner. Good evening. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself for us, please.
I have the Williams.
Great. And can everyone hear okay?
Yes.
Alrighty. So thank you all for being here. Again, I know that a lot of us are new here to the commission, and for those of you that are returning, I'm sure you guys can kind of help us get through the meeting together. And I just have something that I pulled from the handbook that everyone received in regards to the commission. And it's commission effectiveness. Organized groups exist to get things done, to complete certain tasks, to achieve certain agreed upon purpose or goals. A commission is a set of individuals held together by a web of interrelationships and feeling. The nature and intensity of these feelings set the climate of the commission at any given moment. A positive climate encourages members' involvement and responsibility to take action. Optimum participation is achieved when the commission's stated tasks are understood. Members should keep the tasks visible and clearly defined. Common courtesy and respect for fellow commissioners, city employees, city council members, and the general public is expected. So that's just kind of to set the tone. You know, obviously we just want to respect one another, listen to each other when it's our turn to speak, and follow the agenda. So the first thing on the agenda is the selection of Community Services Commission Chair. So, and I know this is hard, and if you guys want to have an open conversation in regards to the chair. So the chair pretty much is going to be overseeing and running the Community and Senior Services Commission meetings every other month. and then they will also have the vice chair when they are not present. So does anyone have any nominations for the position of Community and Senior Services Commission Chair? Yes, Eddie?
I nominate Dr. Zach.
Dr. Zach, okay, we have a nomination. Do we have a second?
Can I just ask real quick for general discussion? Is there anybody that wants to do it? You good with that?
Love it.
Is there a nomination? Excuse me?
Yeah, Herb and I.
Okay, so is there a nomination?
Okay, so I nominate her.
Okay, we have a nomination for Herb Redholz as chair. Can I get a second?
I second it.
Okay, we have Betty with the second. And we're going to go ahead and go through the roll call. Commissioner Jen Gutierrez? Aye. Okay. Commissioner Carol Mullner? Not present. Commissioner Cecilia Munoz?
Aye.
Commissioner George Nguyen? Not present. Commissioner Herb Redholz? Well, Commissioner Robert Torres?
Aye.
Commissioner Betty Baez?
Present.
Commissioner Alfred Williams? Aye. And then Commissioner Kareem Zaglama?
Aye.
Okay, perfect. So we have our chair of the Community and Senior Services Commission, Herb Redholz. So congratulations. So our next election of vice chair for the Community and Senior Services Commission. Do we have any nominations for vice chair? Herb?
I'll nominate Commissioner Torres.
Commissioner Torres, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second by Cecilia Munoz, Commissioner Munoz. And we will go ahead and take a roll call. Commissioner Gutierrez?
Aye.
Commissioner Mulder? Not present. Commissioner Munoz?
Aye.
Commissioner Nguyen? Not present. Commissioner Baez?
Aye.
Commissioner Torres?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
And Commissioner Zaglama?
Aye.
And Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Perfect, congratulations, motion carried, I believe it's 7-0. And we now have our vice chair, Robert Torres. So what we're gonna do now is just do a little rearranging, and we are going to set Robert and Commissioner Torres and Commissioner Herb Redholz at the head of the table here. So if you guys can go ahead and take the head. And we are going to hand the official meeting over to them once I take roll call, but in the meantime, if you guys want to go ahead and take those seats there.
Please just move right there.
Just, I can hear okay, if you don't mind just moving right here, Cecilia, that would be perfect. Congratulations, gentlemen. Have a seat there. Yes, of course, yes.
So we're looking at here, and I think you're probably familiar to it because it's similar to planning commission. So pretty much everything that is in red is you. And then we have my that is in green that has 2 items behind. What we're going to do here is with coordinated meetings, if you want to have open discussion for some of the committees. And then depending on how you want to handle those nominations, if you want to bundle them up in 3. So if somebody wants to nominate 3 people or 4 people to be on that committee, so we can take care of the following one. Then we can try to do that way, or if you want to do everybody individually, I think that will be up to you.
Okay, all right, very cool. Any questions?
Okay, well, I might have them too, so. Okay, so that's going, yeah, so that's going to be under, you know, my position and your agenda. So that is going to be here under Commissioner Warren.
Okay,
I got it.
you're welcome.
That second one too. No, everybody else is on.
We have a commissioner that just arrived, so if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself really quick before we continue?
Oh yes, I'm George Nguyen. I'm the admin and creator for West Virginia Buzz on Facebook. I'm not sure if you guys know what that is, but yes.
Okay, great. Okay, we will continue on with our meeting. So we have, if you can just say here, present, Commissioner Jen Gutierrez. Commissioner Carol Mulner, not present. Commissioner Cecilia Munoz.
Here.
Commissioner George Wynn.
Here.
Commissioner Herb Redholz.
Here.
Commissioner Robert Torres.
Here.
Commissioner Betty Baez. Commissioner Alfred Williams. And Commissioner Kareem Zaklama.
Present.
Did I say that correct? No.
Beautifully.
Okay, Chair Redholz, the meeting is all yours.
All right, great, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Can everybody hear okay?
Can you hear me all right?
I know we have to speak a little louder in here. We need a microphone, huh?
All right, we're going to move on to oral communications. There's a paragraph to read, where's that?
It's on the red.
I do have, this is an oral communications card, it appears, but anyone wishing to speak on a non-agendized item, the one yellow card, this is your card, right? Sophia?
Here.
Okay, let's go to you. You may address the commission at this time.
All right. Let me know if you have trouble hearing me. My name is Sophia Shabira. I'm a registered nurse. I am joined here by my neighbors today from South Hills, Montero Point Homeowners Association, District 4. We are a beautifully diverse, multicultural, multiracial community. For the last 4 years, we have all been traumatized by one hateful, white privileged family. Since January 2020, residents have made over 90 calls to the police for hate speech, hate harassment. We've been told it's not a crime to say go back to your country. Dirty Muslims, get out of the pool. Asians, the pool's for white people only. This family has assaulted Asians, Pacific Islanders, Latinos, Syrian Muslims, and gay residents. They follow us, they corral us, they harass us and threaten us with baseball bats. They threaten us with dog attacks, and then those 2 dogs are let out to attack Shelley Shen. And her dog sustained 25 wounds. She was bit on her back and her hand. The officer said, you can only do something if the dog bites the human first, and that's not the case here. We have been inflicted with physical and emotional scars. We have a serious problem. When our children and seniors stay inside because it's too dangerous to walk on their street, we have a problem. We are traumatized, hurt, afraid, and anxious. We are sickened and shamed by the racial and ethnic slurs shouted at us. The COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated the targeted abuse against Asians and Pacific Islanders. This family's direct next-door neighbor has changed 3 times. They terrorized an Indian family, then they terrorized 2 registered nurses that were from the Philippines, choked her son, turned a garden hose on a party in their patio, and terrorized them so much they moved out. The next Filipino family that moved in and out in under 24 hours. They were so terrorized all night long by this hateful family. When our multiracial, multicultural community is attacked, our American democracy is attacked. Please listen to us, have empathy for us, and apologize for the apathy and neglect of the West Covina City Council, and partner with us in eradicating this hate in our neighborhood. I am a Baha'i, and we believe that racism retards the unfoldment of the boundless potentialities of its victims, corrupts its perpetrators, and blights human progress. Recognition of the oneness of mankind implemented by appropriate legal measures must be universally upheld if this problem is to be overcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Gabriel Pedro Rodriguez.
Hi,
Stand up, that's fine.
I'm Gabriel, and I'm not a resident of their community. But I had the pleasure of meeting everybody at a socially distanced Halloween party. And the only thing there was one thing at that party that everyone shared. A feeling of being trapped, of being attacked, of helplessness because the power that we chose not to help them at all. I was not part of that community, but I felt their pain. I had that opportunity to knock on each person's door to ask for a petition to help for their homeowners association for their homeowners association. And the second we told them that it was about that particular family, everybody signed on. There was not a single person who felt apathy, as any of us who have canvassed before usually see when we go to the door. They cared about this because they have experienced it so difficult. I ask you guys who have not been a part of this community to feel that empathy, to give this opportunity for us to actually fight back. Because the city council and the police have been apathetic this whole time. Instead of apathy, choose empathy. Please help us.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker is Emilu.
Hi, my name is Emmy Liu. I'm also speaking tonight in support of the creation of a care commission here at West Covina. I don't live in Montero Point or South Hills, but I met Sophia last year in October when she did a public comment at the city council meeting, and she was advocating for her community. She was advocating for the safety, for the protection of her neighbors, who she didn't have to. She didn't have to be there. But the fact is that she was being harassed. She knocked on her neighbor's doors. They were also being harassed. But what they all had in common was that none of them were speaking up. None of them, thought that they could talk about what they were going through. And it wasn't until Sophia and Charlie Shan and some other residents organized together and said, this is our community, we have to address the problems that we're facing. And they did that when their response from the city council was nothing. It was apathy, it was neglect, it was silence. So I'm here today asking, because Sophia and her residents have to endure this harassment, this treatment in their own homes, where they're supposed to feel safe and welcome, and they don't. So I'm here today asking for you guys to be able to create a care commission so that people who are experiencing these acts of hate and harassment, xenophobia, racism in their own homes, they can have a place to come and not feel silenced and feel heard. So please consider the creation of a care commission. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have one more card on this. Peter Dean.
Right here. Hello everybody, my name is Peter Din. I see some familiar faces out there, but basically I'm here at this meeting to advocate for a care commission being implemented into this city. I've gotten the pleasure of knowing this community, although I don't live in it, Montero Point, South Hills, HOA, both of them. And I've gotten to see up close the scars, physical and emotional scars that have been caused by, to put it quite frankly, a racist family that's been there for a long time. And no, I'm not saying that we should, arrest the youth that are part of this family, right? I'm not saying who this family is, but they've hurt this community. And I think I want like a restorative, path forward between the family and then the victims, right? And it's hard to look at it from an objective point of view, but I have seen like security camera footage, all the evidence you can see. Basically, piles and piles of evidence. And yet, we still see on Facebook an entirely different story being told. And to make it seem like it's a he said, she said situation, it's not. It's a predator-victim situation. This community is being victimized by that family. That is a fact. If you want to know and be assured of that fact, then go to the community, knock on the doors, talk to people like we did. Go every weekend. We come every Sunday, and we're trying to help them organize in their HOA and make sure that every community in West Covina knows how to organize, make the community stronger, and to stand up against any hateful neighbors that they have. I know we've all experienced, I see this is a pretty diverse group of people. We've probably all experienced racism in the past. We've experienced some sort of prejudice. But the way we get through it is that we help our people that are experiencing that as well, because we know that we have experienced it too. So please lend out a helping hand to this family, this community, these families, and for the people that have tried to move in, have moved out. That's bad for West Covina too. So if you want to look at it from another side, from a side of, yo, no one wants to live in this community, no one wants to live in West Covina if they know their neighbors are being racist and there's nothing being done about it. So we have to look at this from several angles, but the biggest thing is please have empathy for these families, these communities that are being hurt right now. You know, I have a little sister, she looks like me, she's Asian as well, and I've seen the harassment that the little kids that looked like me when I was little are facing right now in this community. It hurts. I picture myself in those situations, and I think a lot of you guys can too. So please help these families, please help this community, and install a HERE commission within this city. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have no other cards. Anyone else wish to speak on oral communication? Hearing done. And I have a question.
We have somebody raising their
Wait,
hand.
Luma?
Yeah, I didn't sign in. I'm a resident of the same community as Sophia. Right now, for my tiny house, I have a condo. I have 10 high-def security cameras covering not only the ground, also roof, because the kids will get on the roof, throw bottles at my driveway. I cannot do gardening in front of my own house because they will drive by me and yell at me. The parent will back up the car, pause the car in front of me, so to give that kid enough time to harass me. It's beyond horrible. The street is so quiet. No kid dare to use the street except for their kid. I'm the only one jog in the courtyard because I get up 6:30 to jog before those kids get up. I'm the only one using the swimming pool other than their family because they say terrible, terrible words to kids, and other parents stop their kids coming to the pool. The word, you won't believe what they say. So please help us. We've done all the right channels and we got no response. Police told me, I know what you guys want to do. It won't happen because the grandpa will not give in. I was like, well, I won't stop either because this is our community. It shouldn't be run by your family.
Okay, thank you. We need you to fill out a yellow card, ma'am.
I will.
Get you on the record.
I will.
Okay. Anyone else? Seeing none?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question on that regarding all of this issue.
Sure.
I want to ask a question. Is that an association or is it independent living, independent homes?
We have two associations, however, the matriarch of this family who owns the property is the president of both of our
Well, that's
HOAs.
your problem.
Well,
That's your problem. You've got to go to the association, complain to the
She's
association.
the president of the association.
You have to then remove her. Remove her from being
Okay,
the
so we
president.
had an election, me and Brenda were elected to serve on the board of directors, and suddenly the corporate status of the HOA was mysteriously suspended.
I cannot-
We have not been able to have a meeting since last December.
Then let-
The other HOA, we were supposed to have a meeting March 20th, and it was to elect 5 directors, and this woman, this racist woman, reappointed herself to serve another 2 years.
Okay, your
Betty,
issue.
excuse me, 1 second, please. This is not an agendized item. So
That's
that's
correct.
my question is of staff, is since this is not on the agenda tonight, what do we need to do? We need to get an agenda or what's the
So
process?
that would be something that would be brought up by the commissioner if there's something that wants to be agendized for a future meeting. But these are just public comments right now, and they are, open to share their comments, but there is no need for any further, I guess.
Because I don't know how far we can go discussing this since it's not on the agenda.
Correct, yeah. You can continue with your meeting if you would like.
Okay, is it possible that I can put it on our next meeting on our agenda?
Sure, when it comes down to that portion of the agenda, you can add that, absolutely. And it'll- yeah.
Yes, there is an item section for agendized items for the next meeting, if you would like to move forward with that.
Thank you for listening.
There's no reason for you to go through that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming, and it sounds like we have a commissioner who's going to put it on the agenda. This is the same topic, right? Okay. Shelley?
Yes.
Oh, this is you. Okay. All right. So we're very good. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Okay, item number 3 is the approval of minutes. Anyone have any changes to the minutes of November 10, 2020 meeting? Hearing none, those minutes of November 10, 2020 are approved as submitted.
Get a motion.
Next is item number 4, which is the selection of the ad hoc committee members. Tonight we will conduct the selection of ad hoc committee members. The 3 ad hoc committees consist of the CDBG, which is Community Development Block Grant, Capital Improvement Projects, and the Homeless Subcommittee. So we can do this in,
So you can do it, you guys can have an open conversation to begin with if anybody shows interest in any of the committees. Eventually, it will need to be a nomination. You can bundle your nominations in 3 or 4s. So if you have 4 people that you want to nominate for one committee to make it all in one, you can nominate 4 individuals and then make the motion. Or if you wanted to make it by each individual person per committee, you can do it that way as well.
thank you, Susie. Does
You're
anyone
welcome.
have any nominees or anybody wish to serve on these committees?
Community Development Block Grant.
Myself as well. Cecilia Munoz.
On which one?
Block grant.
Block Grant.
Oh, block grant? Both of you? Okay.
I was on it, like, so you can put me on that.
Block grant?
I'm willing to serve on as many commissions, subcommittees, whatever that.
Okay. So we need 4 in each one, so we have 4 for CDBG, sounds like.
Yep.
Correct?
So can someone make a motion for those 4 individuals?
So I motion for the 4 individuals that were just volunteered themselves to be on that.
So we have Cecilia Munoz, Jen Gutierrez, Alfred Williams, and Robert Torres?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a second on that motion?
One second.
Okay, we have a second by Commissioner Baez.
And you can be on more than one committee because obviously there's only 9 of you.
Okay, so we need a roll call on that,
Yes.
please?
So, Commissioner Gutierrez?
Aye.
Commissioner Mulner, not present. Commissioner Munoz?
Aye.
Commissioner Nguyen?
Aye.
Commissioner Baez?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Right.
Commissioner Zaquama?
Aye.
Commissioner Torres?
Aye.
Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Motion carried 8-0.
Okay,
Perfect.
all right. Next is the Capital Improvement Project, CIP. Same deal.
I'd like to,
Okay, you know what, I like to be on that one myself. And
Cecilia Munoz.
Cecilia Munoz. Okay.
What is that?
That's for, you want to explain that a little bit, Susan? Capital?
So capital improvement projects are pretty much special projects, and Mike, you may want to chime in on this, funds are allocated for, you know, projects at the parks, like we just have one going on at Shadow Oak, correct? So having, a voice in determining what projects are going to be coming up in the upcoming years to work on in the city.
Okay, yeah, I think I would like to be on that one.
You on that one, I'll.
Okay, so do we have a motion for, I have Betty Reyes, Herb Redholz, Cecilia Munoz, excuse me, and George Wynn.
So moved.
I thought Robert was on as well.
yeah, well.
You know what, if George wants to get on, I'll go on, he can go on.
Oh, okay, excuse me, so let me just make that correction. So it's Cecilia Munoz, George Wynn, Robert Torres, and Betty Baez. Thank you.
You need a second.
So we need a second on it, right?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. You seconded? Okay. Roll call on that one, please.
Yes. Commissioner Gutierrez? Commissioner Molnar, not present. Commissioner Munoz? Commissioner Wynn?
Aye.
Commissioner Baez? Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Zaklama?
Aye.
Commissioner Torres?
Aye.
Commissioner Redholz?
Aye.
Motion moved 8-0.
Okay, last one is the homeless subcommittee, same deal. I would like to be on that one, for sure. And who else we got? Gutierrez and Munoz. And that's 3.
Check the wood if no one else wants to.
Anybody else?
I'll be on
You
that.
want to do it?
Is there anyone that hasn't selected a committee, a subcommittee?
Dr. Zach?
Dr. Zach?
They're not on it. Are you on one? Albert?
Yeah, I'll print on that.
Yeah, I got it.
CDBG.
Oh, CDBG, okay.
So is that Dr. Zach? Commissioner Zaklama?
You don't, I don't think you, as a commissioner, you have to be on one, but if you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You want to be on that one?
I'll take it.
You ready?
Sounds like we have 4 right there, right? 1, 2. I don't need to be on it, I was just volunteering if anyone else.
Pardon?
Did you want to be on that one, the homeless one? I think George wanted to. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he already got it. Yeah.
Okay, so if I have it correct, I have Commissioner Gutierrez, Commissioner Wynn, Commissioner Redholz, and Commissioner Baez.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Zaklama.
Is there a second? Second by Byers, roll call please.
Roll call. Commissioner Gutierrez. Commissioner Munoz. Commissioner Wynn.
Aye.
Commissioner Baez. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Zaklama.
Aye.
Commissioner Torres.
Aye.
Commissioner Redholz.
Aye.
Motion carried 8-0.
All right, we have our committee. Excellent. All right. Next is item number 5, which is the Commissioner's Handbook Review. Everybody's got the handbook. I would suggest that everybody look it over. Kind of went over it earlier, but there's a lot of important information in there that, especially if you're a brand new commissioner, you need to know about. So the commission receives and files, we need to vote on that, right? Any questions on the handbook from anybody? Nope, it's pretty easy, so it's fine. All right. And we need a motion to receive and file. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, Dr. Zach and Commissioner Williams, right?
Okay,
Okay.
roll call.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gutierrez. Commissioner Munoz. Commissioner Wynn.
Aye.
Commissioner Baez. Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Duplama.
Aye.
Commissioner Torres. Commissioner Redholz.
Aye.
Motion carried 8-0.
Okay, next is item number 6, which is the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG funding and future projects discussion, which will be led by Public Services Superintendent Mike Cressa. Mike, please.
Good evening, everyone. Actually, there will be no direction from this. I will give a brief update. There's some confusion now that we formed the CIP committee. There'll be more discussion. We do have some funding that we are looking to spend, and there are only certain areas that are eligible due to the HUD requirements. So in this packet, you'll see we have a design for Friendship Park. We have a design for Friendship Park, and it's just an example of some of the things that we're looking at for the park. Things are being discussed like inclusive playgrounds, health and fitness equipment, walking trail apparatuses, things of that nature. So as part of the CIP committee, we will be meeting with vendors, looking at all those things, and bringing it back to the commission the next meeting. So actually hope to get the CIP ad hoc committee together rather quickly, because we do have quite a few projects. We have CDBG funding that later we'll be discussing Measure A as well. And then we also have some Prop 68 money that we received that's eligible. So basically wanted to show you what we were working on and some of the things that have come back from one of the vendors and ideas for that park, and all those things are submitted here. Okay. So if anybody has any recommendations, anything they'd like to see, then always can ask to reach out, and then as the ad hoc committee, the ad hoc committee will be working towards selection process to bring to the commission. That concludes my report.
How much money is in that right now?
Well, for Friendship Park, this is something that you don't hear very often, but we have $1 million. So Friendship Park is going to be a pretty exciting project for the community. It's an area that we'll get to look at, really look at our wish list and really take a good stab at recreating that park. So that's the goal. It's $1 million, but on average, it just depends. For example, our Measure A allocation is $340,000 a year. We just received our Prop 68, and with our match, it's $305,000. So those are 3 different grants that we'll be able to attack different issues with, and that's, the funding sources matter. But in this one especially, it's limited to one area, but it's going to be a nice sized project, and we're going to be able to tackle a lot of needs at that location.
And the $1 million was an accumulation of a few years of not using those funds?
No, that's Measure A funding. This is CDBG. We get allocations every year, and it's used for low-income areas, for streets, programs like the CDBG Commission actually wouldn't deal with the CIP aspect of this, but we have food banks we contribute to, youth assistant programs, things like that, and that's what the CDBG ad hoc committee does, is allocate those funds as well. Every year there's an action plan, and the money's allocated that way. So you can accumulate money, and it does have to be spent by a certain time. Like, this is time sensitive, so we're a little bit slow on this money, and we need to speed the process up, so that's why we'll be meeting shortly. But it's not like the Measure A where you can just accumulate it and keep rolling it over. It has to be spent by a certain date.
And when does this have to be spent by?
Yesterday. So, no, we have a little bit of time, but this is a project that we hope to get done to the streets, hoping to have it done by the end of the year at the latest.
Is this kind of set up the same way where they also allocate maintenance funds after?
There is no M&S funds on these projects. The M&S funds, the maintenance and servicing funds, are for Measure A, so this will not be eligible for that now.
The existing park that's there that's going to be re-zipped, did that have some maintenance funds already in budget that can be used later for the same Friendship Park?
The park currently there was not a Prop A project. It's county funds is where the maintenance and servicing come from, and the park that's there is I don't date. I think it's late 80s, early 90s. So it's aged, and it was not any of those funds. So our general fund budget maintains that playground now.
So just a thought for that committee, just to kind of get an estimate for whatever you are spending on the Friendship Park, to know what maintenance costs would be towards, what would that be on general budget after that?
Yeah, it would go to general fund. We have to maintain all repairs through our general fund and our budget, our parks budget.
So it would never deter the project. This is a beautiful thing. Thank you for the good news, Mike. It's just like a thing to know. so when people are making decisions, they just know what that's adding to.
Dr. Zach, obviously, we worked together for a while, maintenance and keeping up the equipment.
I know.
My first and foremost priority, so I appreciate you bringing that up. In this case, we do need to spend the money and it's not there, but we'll find a way, we're trying to be proactive in what we put there, and that's where the CIP commission comes in so much. I mean, those are things we'll discuss in the design process. What's gonna hold up? What are we gonna do to maintain, pour and play? How are we gonna keep that up? Those are all things we'll discuss as part of that process and bring back to the commission.
I know you're reading it, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see the grant come up.
We're excited as well.
And Mike, you contact each individual member when you're going to have a meeting? Or?
I don't know if we want to pull after the meeting and we can get availability, but I'm looking to have that meeting as soon as possible. So if we don't get together tonight after the meeting, we'll definitely reach out tomorrow.
Okay. Question? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, the question I have is with regards to your CIP project. So has it already cleared environmental review and is it ready to go? Or?
That is all part of the process. When the project is awarded and bidded, that's all part of it. So this commission would select design. We take it to council. Then we would bid it for installation. Take it to council. And once it's approved, that is part of the installation process. So all the CEQA and all the guidelines are done then and there, once the project is awarded.
Okay, thank you.
Question, Mike. So can you kind of clarify on the CDBG, like how did we get the funding, or what was the scenario that we ended up with additional funding?
Well, it's not additional funding. It's just, Dave, it's money you haven't spent, right?
ASA Dr. Master.
Yeah, no problem.
West Covina, like every incorporated city in this country, receives money through the Federal Department of HUD, their Community Development Block Grant Program. The CDBG program was established in 1974, was a block grant because it was an amalgamation of several different categorical programs that existed up until that time. The urban renewal projects of the 60s and early 70s. West Covina is fortunate to be a large city, so it's a direct entitlement city. The smaller cities, population less than 50,000, have to compete through the urban county program. So it's more expensive administratively and more expensive in terms of time for delivery of projects. It's a complicated formula by which each city that's an entitlement city gets its money. There's a number of factors: unemployment, job lag decline, physical condition of the community, poverty levels, etc. But it's set every year by HUD, and they give us a budget with which to work. One of the factors in play now, and the reason Mike is pushing for project delivery, is one of the indices of success of the program is they want us to have a really low drawdown rate. They don't want us to have these funds kind of banked, they want us to deliver them. And so it's urgent in that if we don't do it, it'll be an audit finding, and I think everybody knows I hate those. So we're gonna work hard to deliver it as quickly as we can, certainly by the end of the year.
Okay, so
I talked too long. Did I answer your question?
No, yeah, you answered more than, that was perfect. But so I'm assuming that the Friendship Park is in an area that qualified as opposed to...
It qualifies, and it's interesting. The CDBG programs are targeted either to target areas based on income or to targeted groups based on special needs. There's always an easy way to qualify projects for seniors, for example. So a number of the improvements in this building are eligible. The bathrooms that were just done, we're getting ready to do some doors. Those are easy to targeted groups. It's always easier if you're just following those guidelines directly, and that's the reason we ended up at Friendship Park, because it's automatically income eligible, and we won't have to go through any special gymnastics of trying to approve individual participants who are low and moderate income. We've got to principally benefit low and moderate.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and then my last question, so the money will have to be for a specific use like the playground, or could it be for anything at the park?
Well, with the money we have there, we're looking at this will be a larger project.
Okay.
I mean, all-inclusive playgrounds have been a hot topic lately, and so in some cases, we won't be able to afford all-inclusive, but this is definitely a location that we can. There's basketball courts there, fitness equipment we're looking at, talks of LED upgrades for ball field lights, things of that nature. So, we're going to use everything we can. And obviously, there'll be discussion in the CIP ad hoc committee to bring back.
Recreational facilities are also pretty easy to qualify. We could never qualify, for example, a building of general purpose local government. I mean, heaven knows we need a lot of repairs at City Hall, but we need an ask. They're never going to approve that project. This one, because it's in an area where the income levels aren't so high, we can qualify all of these playground and park improvements.
And so it has to be improved?
Yes.
And the other interesting thing also is actually, it's changed over the years. Where it's been eligible due to income, and it's changed. For example, the playground at Del Norte, which was put in back in 2012, was put in with CDBG money.
Right.
So, just because, this happens to be the only area that's eligible now, that does not mean that's how it will stay in the future. So every year those guidelines change.
Yeah, I'm excited because I actually took the kids to a few parks, and that was one of the parks we went to, so that playground is in need of.
It's fired and it's ready. We're excited about it.
And then a lot, the facilities itself, so like bathroom improvements will qualify, you think?
I believe so. That's something we can look at, yes.
Okay, I'll talk more about that later. That's all, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mike?
No, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, next is item number 7, which is Commissioner Zaplana's request for a report on senior services provided to the senior residents within the city, as well as senior living facilities within the city. Susie Perez, please.
Yes. Good evening, everyone, again, and just let me know if you can't hear me, so I get to speak to you in regards to something that I'm extra passionate about, so I was really excited when I saw this on the agenda tonight. Just to give you guys a little bit of background, you're actually sitting in part of our senior center right now. This is our only senior center in the city of West Covina. We do have what we call the main hall, which is when you were driving it in towards Cortez. That's what we call the main hall, and that hall consists of our main dining room. It has a computer lab, 2 computer labs, a TV room, our full service kitchen, and office space. And then this is what we call the north wing, which is our annex building. And we use this space more for all of our classes, meetings. We have a small classroom right over here, and we actually rent out this space here, which is 3 classrooms, to an adult daycare program that we call CAPS. So those are individuals that have Alzheimer's, and they register directly through the CAPS program, and they have their own staff here on site that manages that program and component of the senior center. And we do provide them pre-COVID with their meals daily. So I'll talk a little, can you guys all hear me okay? I'll speak a little bit on what services we used to offer pre-COVID and what services we are currently offering during the pandemic. So pre-COVID, our hours of operation were Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. On any given day, we would see anywhere from 400 to 500 seniors here in our facilities. A big thing that is extremely popular here in the city of West Covina is the congregate meal program. So we were used to serving 150 to 180 seniors on a daily basis. And unique to West Covina is that we have our own city chef on site preparing all of the hot meals and delivering those, not delivering them, but distributing those to our seniors. Again, I'm speaking pre-COVID. And it was a suggested $2 donation, and it was on a first-come, first-served basis. It was open to West Covina residents and those in the surrounding cities. And we would sell out pretty much every day. We contract with the County of Los Angeles for that program. So a lot goes into it compared to other cities where they outsource the service and their meals are catered in. Again, everything here is done in-house. So all of the collection of signatures, collection of donations, inputting of information in what we call our Get Care system. So I have a staff person that has to every year, we have to input everybody's client information into this program. And then on a daily basis, we have to account for everybody that is receiving a meal, and that's how the county reimburses us for the program. We're considered similar to just any other restaurant where we have to maintain our letter grade of an A, and we have a county dietitian that comes in and that we're meeting all of the guidelines and the requirements for the meal program. And they are very strict in regards to the nutritional intake that they receive on a daily basis. So we had a lot of volunteers helping with that program, and we had like a lot of the adult daycare programs that would look for work. They would come in and they would actually help us serve the seniors, which was really neat. And so they got used to coming in and helping with that, along with our senior volunteers. And then every year we would host a volunteer recognition luncheon for them, just to recognize them and honor them for all of their help and support, because without them, there's no way we would be able to operate the program with just the staff. I mean, it goes from wrapping silverware to wiping down tables to putting away chairs to sweeping and mopping. Everything's done in-house, so we do depend a lot on our volunteers. So that's our congregate meal program. We also have information and referral services. I wish the group would have stayed and maybe we could have given them some additional information, but we actually have a lot of resources available to the community. Yes, this is a senior center, but we also provide information and referral to people that call from the city. You know, sometimes we get children of the parents, their grandchildren, and they're just looking for information in regards to elder abuse, housing rights, meal insecurities. We have mental abuse, you know, or we have a lot of different things that we actually have connections with, and one of them is our case management services. So we have a contract with the YWCA, Intervale Senior Services. Their office is located in Covina, and they service about 35 cities. And it's an amazing partnership with them. And I've been working with them for over 15 years now. And so when we get somebody that comes in and is seeking that type of assistance, then we're able to give them a call, and either we refer them to the YWCA, and then they are able to either open a case with them if they're a senior, or they're able to refer out to other agencies, and they have all of that information and all of those resources available to them. We also have presentations with like social model recovery, and they're also in the area, and a lot of different nonprofit agencies, DMH, the county comes in and they do lectures for us, Alzheimer's support group, we have Partners in Care. I'm trying to think of some other agencies that we work with, but these are all nonprofit agencies that we work directly with to provide presentations and services and resources to our community, our senior community. And again, you'd be surprised how many times we have their children come in, you know, and maybe they need caregiver support group or assistance, so we have that capability to connect them with the right person that they need to get assistance from. We provide legal assistance, so we have that on a volunteer basis, and we have a local legal attorney that would come in and he would provide free legal assistance. It's a free 15-minute consultation, but at least again, he can refer the senior to where they need to go to get further assistance. We have free notary service. So same concept, they would make an appointment and then they were allowed to get one free notarized document here at the senior center. And then we have our fun stuff, right? So a lot of people think, there's two things that the people think. Sometimes think people or seniors are, you know, hesitant to come to the senior center because they're not sure what to expect. They think it's just for the elderly and the frail and a walker or a wheelchair, but it's the furthest thing from that. I mean, you come here on a regular day and you'll see all of the activity going on here. So we have our classes, And a big component of that is the partnership that we have with Mount San Antonio College. So they actually bring in all of their instructors. So if you were to walk into this room on any given morning, you would see 100 people in here working out. So Mount SAC provided classes, and they're still doing online classes during COVID, but they provide exercise, yoga, tai chi, watercolor, home gardening. They have a whole computer lab up there, and that's absolutely free to our community. All the seniors have to do is register with the instructor, and they're in the class. So we have that component, and we also offer some paid fee classes where the seniors can pay a nominal fee of $3 or $5 to come to a Zumba class or a line dance class. So we coordinate all of those classes and services as well. And then the special events, they love their special events, and our seniors here were extremely active. I mean, again, if you were to come on one of our party days, it was a party. I mean, we would sell out at 200 people with a DJ, and we would have our chef prepare a special hot meal. Again, we would bring in the volunteers, and we would get donations from different organizations, do giveaways, and they would just have the best time. Now, during COVID, we had to get a little innovative, and we did already have some drive-through events for them. And we prepared an extra hot meal, and then we get Mike lets us borrow one of the large trucks from the yard. We decorate it, it's like a flatbed. So for like Valentine's Day, we had a singer, and they just were loving it. So as they drove by, they got to hear in live entertainment. They got a flower, a carnation for Valentine's Day, and a hot meal. And we try to partner, if we don't prepare it in-house, we try to partner with local restaurants as well that that have been very generous during the pandemic and have given us donations. So we have like Chick-fil-A, they donated free meals. Fujin Ramen has donated free meals. Island, on a weekly basis for about 6 weeks, was donating 100 meals a week. So, and then we had an Adopt a Senior campaign, and we were able to raise, I believe it was over $15,000 for meal insecurities that we have. So when we need to provide an extra hot meal, we have those resources currently available to us in the foundation. We also have our, pre-COVID again, we had our excursion program. So we would use Prop A funding for transportation, which allowed us to keep the cost nominal. But depending on where they would go, of course, we would price it out accordingly. And they could go anywhere. When you use Prop A funding, there's a certain jurisdiction that you have to stay in. So we would stay within that jurisdiction and take them to excursions, such as, trying to think, there were cultural excursions, so we would go anywhere from Santa Barbara, Solvang, do historical tours, go to the Huntington Library, and we would just kind of get an interest in the feel of what they would like, and the Mission Inn Festival of Lights. And then of course you have to offer the casinos, right? Because they love the casinos. So we would offer casino trips as well. And during COVID, so once the pandemic hit, we literally got the call from the county, I believe it was on March 12th. We shut down, and by March 13th, we had implemented a drive-through program for our residents. And as things kind of intensified and it was the peak of the pandemic, we had over 500 seniors coming through our line every day. Every day, Monday through Friday, we were feeding over 500 seniors. Some of those seniors were not West Covina residents at that time, but we were just, at that time, we need to feed everybody and anybody that we can because we knew that that was the demand and that was the need. And then the Safer at Home order hit where none of the seniors were supposed to come out at all, right? They were all supposed to stay indoor. So our drive-through service converted into a home delivery service. So seniors were, our staff were delivering every day to the seniors. And so it was something that we had to develop routes. So we have what we call the north route, south, and then the center routes. We have kind of two center routes, just the city being so large. And as things have kind of died down a little bit, we've been able to implement a component where it has both the drive-through and the home delivery. So currently we are servicing about 250 seniors every week. On Monday, staff arrives, and we are out the door here by 7 a.m. and delivering to about 120 seniors. Those are our seniors that are homebound. And then they come back and then they package everything here. So they package all of the frozen meals, the milks, the fruit, everything. And then at 10 a.m., we open our drive-through for those seniors, for the extra 130 that can drive. They come and they pick up their meal on Mondays. Another challenge that we had, but it was exciting, was the mask distribution during the pandemic. So we received, tens of thousands of masks and gloves and hand wipes. So as we were receiving the donations, the staff, and you guys are more than welcome to come. I opened the invitation to you on a Monday, but it looks like a warehouse in our main hall, And so staff was responsible for sorting all of these masks. I mean, it was just a sea of masks and gloves, and packaging everything and then distributing them on top of the meal program that they were already doing. So I would say we probably gave out to at least, maybe 20,000 cars in a span of a few weeks, if not more. So that was all resources that were done by our limited services staff and our admins. They've stepped up to the plate, and that's not something that they're used to doing. So like Mira, she's out there on Mondays also packaging and delivering. We just are using all of the resources that we currently have to make the programs happen. And AARP, so we provide a tax service to the seniors. It's free, right? So before, pre-COVID, it was open to really anyone that was interested in the service. Now, because of COVID, we've had to get innovative, and it's strictly for, at the beginning, it was strictly for our West Covina seniors with income requirement of $100,000 or less. So, of course, they can't come into the facility, so we developed a program where they call in, they make their appointment, and then there's a pre-intake form that they need to fill out, so they have to come in on a Thursday morning before their appointment through the drive-thru, pick up their packet, and then when they come back for their appointment, they park, we put cones out, and then they have to call, and then we have our 5 tax preparers here, and then they are responsible for preparing their taxes and making sure that the service is done. And I can tell you that we received a lot of calls from a lot of different cities asking how we were offering tax service. So it was a lot of coordinating and implementation between myself and our main tax preparer, Jerry, and he has been great, and we just kind of had to develop a program because we knew that it was something and needed to continue for the community. So I would say that those are the services that we are still currently offering during the pandemic. Information and referral, we get calls all day. Again, we refer them to case management, or if they need services, then we get them to where they need to go. So, and that concludes my presentation. It was a little lengthy, sorry. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I was asked, do we still do they bring in the truck to rip up
So we had a paper shredding event in November for America's Recycle Day, and we are going to be having another one here. I wish I had the date for you, but it is coming up, and I can email you that date.
Okay.
Yes.
And also the Heritage Day, is that going to be, I think that was the thing at the park called Heritage Day?
Arbor Day.
Heritage Day, I'm not familiar
Arbor
with
Day.
that event.
You mean Arbor Day?
That'd be Arbor Day.
Heritage Park, whatever it was.
Heritage Park.
That was Arbor
Arbor Day, Earth Day, Arbor Day?
Might have been, but I noticed, I went through the schedule and I didn't see anything.
Yeah, so, you know what? Colleen Rosati and I, and she's the president of West Covina Beautiful, we've been playing phone tag. So I'm trying to see if she wants to organize something for Earth Day, Arbor Day, which would be in April.
On the shredding, how do you post that? Because I've never really seen any posting of when that.
So currently, the way we are advertising, we used to have the brochure, which was a Discover, but the way that we are advertising right now is via social media and through the website. And then I know that during the beginning of some council meetings, they have the slideshows that are showing what's coming up as well. We try to submit that information for there too. Any other questions?
At the risk of going too long, I just want to add to the answer. West Covina has a proud history of being a Tree City USA.
Yes.
And one of the reasons it always gets the certification is because there has to be a community-based organization component. And so this Arbor Day piece is very important to that. And I've talked to Colleen, and I know she's quite interested, and she's going to make it happen with Susie.
Yeah.
And we're gonna pick a date and pick an event.
Sounds good.
I don't know if that event will be in Heritage Park. On an annual basis, there's been different parks. Obviously, we recognize people in the community usually, and also we plant trees. But we've gone from different locations yearly, so it's not set at one location annually. It might have been at Heritage Park last year, I'm not sure. There's been talk of Gulfster this year.
Last year it was canceled due to the pandemic, and the year prior to that, it was held here at Cortez Park. And then the year prior to that was at Palm Beach Park.
You might also be referencing the birthday celebration as well, which also West Covina Beautiful does that as well. But they are planning one for this year.
We definitely have to have one in 2023.
Yes.
That's the centennial.
Yep.
Any other questions? Yes.
Go ahead.
Ready?
I want to ask you, follow through on the income tax.
Yes?
So you said a call and make an appointment
Yes.
and call you?
You would call the senior center directly. If you're interested in making an appointment for yourself, I can take care of that for you after this
Yeah, I
meeting.
need some.
Okay? I got you.
Just I was thinking yesterday about it. I wonder if West Covina is having the income tax.
Yes. I'll take care of you after this meeting, not a problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Your presentation was really well received. That was really good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a few questions. The first one, like you were mentioning the outreach component, do we have any idea where our seniors are coming from? Like, the only example I have is relationships I have with neighbors. And a lot of the seniors that live in my neighborhood, they don't use it just because of distance. And I think it's just ingrained in the whole process, right? They need to be, I guess, closer for the chances of them using the services. So do we know, like, our demographics or where most seniors are coming from and what part of the city?
Currently or pre-COVID? Currently, I can tell you that our delivery service is pretty widespread, right? So we hit anywhere, I mean, when I deliver on Mondays, I am hitting the corner of Walnut and City of Industry, and then I have staff that are all the way on the north side, almost hitting Baldwin Park. So and it's pretty split. It's pretty split. We each split up, and we each have about the same amount of residents that we do deliver to. I could probably pull that a little bit further for you. I don't have that exact number right now, but we can definitely look at the statistic as to who is being serviced out of those 215 people for the current subscription of the meal program. Not a problem.
Yeah, that's really good. If you could do that, that would be great.
Sure.
The concern too that I've always had too would be, are we targeting or like advertising, you know, kind of looking at where we need to, outreach more. Like I said, inherently, I think outreach in the immediate vicinity of the senior center is probably not that needed, I guess, because we can walk there, so my concern has always been, how can we get those seniors that are furthest distance away to also participate? And if our outreach is kind of, I guess, general in the sense that we're outreaching to everyone in the same manner, whereas if we can target and say, hey, our participation is really low in this area of the city, maybe we should look into revising our shuttle routes, or maybe doing more outreach, even door knocking, you know, something that we can look at in the future.
Sure, and I can go into more detail on that as well if you'd like to tonight, or maybe, you know, a one-on-one. But we do have the dial-a-ride service where the seniors can make or apply to be part of that program, where they can make appointments to be picked up, brought to the senior center, and taken back home once we open. We do have some seniors that use it to come to, and something I didn't mention was we have our monthly food bank where we disseminate 400 non-perishable food kits. So we do have seniors that come through the shuttle just for services like that to pick up their food kits. If there's somebody that is in dire need, I mean, we've had calls where we have gone to deliver a food kit for somebody that hasn't been able to drive, or that is in a situation where they don't have any family or friends to bring that to them. So please just let us know if there's somebody like that, and we would be more than happy to arrange something. But we will look at the statistic and look at seeing how we can reach different points throughout the city and different populations in the city, for sure.
And you get to hear it first. Kelly McDonald, I don't know if you're all familiar with Kelly McDonald, but he's our public services manager, and he's working on our transit. So there's been lots of discussion about the line, where we're going and what we're doing. But we just got word from MV Transit, our transit provider, that we're going to be piloting the Uber program. They've just contracted with Uber, and it should be coming to council really quick. So you heard Land from the boss heard. So we're definitely looking at those things and trying to make everything available as much as possible.
Yeah, and the dial ride also, if they have a companion, because sometimes that's the case, right, is the senior has a companion, but the companion doesn't drive. You can apply for your companion as well to ride with you. And it has a lift. So the dial rides have lifts where if they're wheelchair bound or if they use walkers and they can't climb up the stairs, the dial rides have the lifts where they can actually step right onto the lift and be lifted onto the transit.
One more question.
Sure.
So when you were giving your presentation, you did mention the services that you provide and that they might apply to the speakers that spoke today.
Yeah.
As far as, could you elaborate on exactly, like, say for example,
yeah, so like
if they were to approach you, how, I guess.
Yeah, so like the lady that spoke towards the end, we may be able to connect her with adult protective services, right? Or she may qualify for case management, where somebody that is from a nonprofit agency like that would be able to go, if she allows, to go into the home, assess the situation, and provide additional resources. If she feels like there's elder abuse happening, right? If our social worker goes in and she feels like elder abuse is happening, then APS would be called, Adult Protective Services would be called, and Adult Protective Services would step in at that moment. So if it's an elderly person like that, then those resources may be available. So there are resources available where we may be able to tap into. And like the YWCA, they have like a domestic violence. They have a domestic violence component to their agency. And they provide overall basic supportive services where, again, they are our plug for when somebody calls to refer them to. So again, if we're able to connect with individuals like that, then we can say, okay, I'm gonna call YWCA, let me see who I can connect this person to see if they can provide them additional resources. Now, we're not certified to do that kind of work, but we are, I train my staff to not just stop there with whatever, the concern is, but try to find some type of resource for that individual, whether it's a senior, a family member, or somebody that's just calling that's needing resources.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes?
A question on the dial-a-ride.
Yes.
What is the destination?
So the destination is anywhere in the city of West Covina, and they do travel 3 miles outside of West Covina for doctor's appointments, medical appointments.
Would that include like the Foothill Hospital?
I can look into that for you. I don't want to say yes exactly, but I can find that out for you exactly.
Because I know that at one time they were discussing that years ago, and I think they got it up to as far as Foothill Hospital. I wanted to know whether they still have the facilities for that.
Okay, yeah, no, absolutely. I will look into that for you as well, Betty.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
Any other questions?
Yeah, one, thank you, Susie.
Yeah.
We could feel your passion, and it takes a passionate group to make this stuff happen, so definitely appreciate it. The intent of the bringing it to the agenda is how can we help, you know, with COVID resources, people resources, and every resource. Do you want us to get the word out on anything? Is there anything you need our support on, or is there anything you need just general support on to raise awareness?
Thank you so much for that. Right now, like I said, I would open the invitation for you if you're available on a Monday, about 9 a.m. to kind of see how the distribution works. And understanding what it all entails is super crucial for us. So that way, as a commission, you guys understand everything that goes into not only senior services, but community services in general. And just letting people know that we're here, and we're available. And even though our doors are closed, that we still have staff answering calls, answering, providing information and referral resources that way. As far as resources, obviously we still have that Adopt a Senior campaign. So if anyone is ever in the community interested in making a donation, for our special events here at the Senior Center, we always look for small type of giveaways for the seniors. So if you guys have Dr. Zach, like for instance, if you guys have 200 toothbrush kits sitting at your office and you wanted to donate those, we would gladly give those out to our seniors. Things like that we always are in need of, and they truly do appreciate those little gestures.
Do you mind talking a little bit more on the Adopt a Senior? So where do you sign up?
So there's an application, and I can email that out. We can email that out to everyone so you can take a look at that. And the money goes directly to our Community Services Foundation, which means that money is strictly used for senior services. So it doesn't go into the general fund. The donation is made to the Community Senior Services Foundation, so we can utilize that to provide additional meals and resources.
So it's a nifty name, but you're not actually paired up with a particular person.
Correct.
I get you.
Correct.
And then, and you donate online or something?
There's an application, so we would create pretty much an account for you in our registration software Dash, so that way we can receipt you and you can pay cash, card, or check. And then it comes with recognition at the city council meeting depending on the level of the donation.
So there's Adopt a Senior, there's Come at 9 a.m. just to kind of see how things go. Did you have something else on your mind?
I think that's all I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more, but that is all I can think of off the top of my head.
I'm thinking the primary role of the group, the senior community service, if we could support somehow, as far as taking it back to the council
We will.
members, taking it back to the community.
Yeah, so I think that if you have ideas or if you hear feedback in regards to, obviously when we open, it's not going to look the same. We're not going to see 400 to 500 seniors here. So obviously coming up maybe with some just suggestions on how we should roll out our opening again. Again, a lot of it does depend on what the county guidelines are. So if we're only able to serve, 1/3 of our senior population, obviously we're going to have to get very creative as to who we're going to have me here. So suggestions on that would be great.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Regarding you said you advertise on social media and things like that, but there are some, and I believe you had a good idea about door knocking, but there is a lot of seniors that don't feel comfortable answering the door because they don't know who it is. So I'm thinking maybe you can kind of look into something when you advertise on social media, like encourage the neighbors to reach out to the elderly neighbors to get involved in some kind of program assistance that they can get help in and get, good things for their, that they don't know about. Yeah. That's it.
No, I was going to make a comment. One of the things that Dr. Zach asked was about senior living facilities
Yes,
in the city. And, you know, West Covina is becoming quite an attractive location for these operators of senior living facilities. You know, we have Merrill Gardens, which if you guys haven't, you know, been through that facility, you can contact Sherry and arrange a tour, because it's really, you know, a beautiful, well-maintained, well-managed, it's like luxury living, and it's like all-inclusive. And then there's another one that, on Merced, that, did that ever come to, did we approve that one? I forgot about that.
Yeah.
On Merced? Yeah. Okay, so there's another one, then there's another one that we approved on Sunset. And I don't know if that one's still coming through, but there's, you remember that one?
The one by the 10 freeway?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, but
It's all out though, right?
inside it,
I think, okay. So we have two, I mean, one's already open right now, and then we have the other one that's coming in on Merced. It's just beautiful. So, you know, there's a lot of attractiveness about West Covina for seniors.
What's the cross street there?
It's Orange and Merced. It's not too far from Hearst Ranch. Right behind the Masonic Temple over there. And, you know, that's beautiful. Have you been to Merrill Gardens?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, that's really, really nice.
Yeah, and what's unique about those assisted living facilities is they actually typically always have their own source of transportation for their residents.
Yes.
And they also have their activities coordinators in those facilities, and they run their own programs and services. And we have in the past partnered like with Bridge Creek and the one on Grant, I can't think of the name of it, and we actually used to run it was softball, but they were sitting down. And I can't remember what the title of the activity was. So we have had those partnerships, and we will continue to build those partnerships with those assisted living facilities. And sometimes, you know, they're like, hey, can we provide cookies for all of your seniors, you know? And so we have an in-kind donation form also, where they're able to make those types of donations here to the seniors. And the list is there. I apologize, I didn't even go over that. Thank you for reminding me. But the list of the assisted living facilities are listed in your agenda.
That Clara Baldwin Stockton, that's an assisted living?
Clara Baldwin is, yes, I believe it is.
People are living there too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the report is for, and I apologize because I wasn't here when this was asked for, but the report was for assisted living facilities or senior living facilities? Is there?
So it's pretty similar. So assisted living, it could be assisted living with memory care or independent living. Some of them sometimes are both, right? So if you can be part of the Regency grant and be independent living, so you do everything on your own, but then they also have a component for assisted living or memory care. So it's the same thing, but it depends on where you select, where a senior selects that they want to live.
So the criteria for this bullet point list was?
That was just a request by Commissioner Zaklama. Those are all private businesses.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's just what I was wondering. So the list could potentially be longer depending on, I guess, type of services they ask or they provide?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Would the list potentially be bigger, or I guess a longer list if you include other facilities that provide a variety of, assisted living, or is this it?
So this is the list that's here in West Covina.
Okay, so these are all the assisted living?
The assisted and senior living facilities in West Covina. Oh, there's phone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And one last thing, you know, on Merrill Gardens, they have a memory care center there too, which is, operated, it's within the building, but it's, because of the memory situation, it's restrictive and, it's a separate operation within the building there.
And you'd be surprised, some of these assisted living facilities or independent living facilities have salons where seniors can get their hair hair done and their nails done. I mean, they go all out.
Yeah, and like Merrill, I mean, if you look at the, you know, the cost, I mean, it sounds high, but everything is included. I mean, you don't have to do anything outside of it. It's all, if you figure out those expenses, it's probably a pretty good deal. Because you just, it's all one shot, you're done. It's great. I just wish I was old enough. Give it up. Yes, yeah. Or are you there? Okay, so we need, anything else on this item?
I have a question.
Yes.
Have you had a lot of calls about how to get make COVID appointments from your seniors?
So I will refer that, Mira helps me with the filtering the majority of our calls. Do we get a lot of calls in regards to the seniors making appointments for COVID?
There were a lot of calls basically with the vaccination, because right now that's what we're offering at the senior center, the Cameron Center. And they were asking.
That's the COVID test.
That's the COVID test.
Yeah.
And then the vaccinations, there's questions and we refer them to the website as to, like, sometimes we assist them in getting the appointments, but it's so hard to get into the system. And we kept on telling them, there's this number just in case you can't get through, but we're trying our best to help them make the appointments. And recently, I think CVS in West Covina.
Yeah, that was the latest.
Yes.
That was the latest press release that came out. So I think, yeah, when the initial press release came out that there was going to be a COVID test site at Cameron, I mean, we were flooded with calls for days, you know, because I think there was a little confusion on that, but we were able to kind of assist them and letting them know what the information was.
They're still doing testing then, right?
They are, yes.
What exactly do we have on the website when you're referring seniors to the website for vaccinations? What exactly do we, I guess, have on the website? I haven't had the opportunity to look.
On the website, it has the banner. The very first banner says COVID testing. If they click on that, it takes them to a page where they can go and find out the closest testing site or the closest vaccination site and set up that appointment through a third party that provides that for us. But it does direct them to that page right from the main banner on the website. And or how to figure anything out about COVID.
But have you ever had any seniors that don't have access to it? Probably.
So for that, again, we try to help them on our end as much as we can, and then we use 211 as a referral service for them as well.
Okay, 211 is the county?
So it's a county referral service, yes.
Anything else on this item? I need a motion to receive and file, that's correct?
No, just the presentation.
No?
Just the presentation.
No? Okay. Okay. Item number 8 is the disorder reports from November 2020 and December 2020. Is there a staff report on this, or?
No, it's just recommended that the commission
Okay,
receive and
so
file.
we just need a motion to receive and file.
Mike, so for the facilities report, I know that it's in, I guess, the same format for some time, right? The Excel spreadsheet format?
You mean the reports, the report itself?
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Is there any way to kind of explore that as far as presenting it in a different form or making it easier to read, and then also like maybe looking at tracking other additional items?
You can all, whatever you recommend, like for example, we just added the public services side of things. So we've added our total number of requests, how long it takes to respond to those requests, and then breakdown of what the requests are. So anything, if there's something specific you're asking for, you can let Susie or myself know. We can definitely try to add that, do that. Definitely look at ways to make it bigger. This format, the problem we have is there's usually a lot more information. The center being closed makes the community service side about usage and what we're doing at locations. Obviously, it looks small right now, but I definitely think the format could be a little bit bigger and easier to read. Yes, I understand the question.
Okay, and so yeah, one of the items that I was thinking about was just, do we have a condition assessment of all our facilities, like the parks and?
Well, things have changed, and there used to be a process, as part of the CIP process, the commission used to load on a bus and drive to every location, and then a CIP list was derived that way. Over time, in the last, 10, 15 years, as funds have become less and less available, that is the process that has changed. Not sure what we would do as a commission, how we would do that, but, it definitely should be discussed and do that. A list, I think a list of every facility, every need, every meeting would be a little cumbersome. But I mean, obviously there needs to be some, I do agree that there needs to be some report of what's going on and what are we dealing with.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful because the condition assessments, I think would help bring things to our attention, and if staff doesn't have time, I'm sure maybe we could work out just on our own to figure out who can take visits to certain parks. But like one example is, that I mentioned earlier, is the bathrooms, for example. So you go to a park and you notice, like for I don't know how many years, soap dispensers in certain parks have been broken, not working, other things. And I understand there's minimal maintenance staff, so it's generally not a big deal, but just so that we have that on our radar, so we can say, on the facility reports, we can say, well, Cortez Park has all these issues that we're looking at, Del Norte has these issues, and just so we can have an idea of what, I guess, facility needs are in these parks.
So what I'm hearing is, it would be possible if we were to design, work together to create a checkoff list.
Right.
So you as a commissioner, when you're assigned to say a park, and you just go off of a checkoff list, good, bad, needs improvement, and then that would be submitted so that we know the condition of the park?
Yeah.
It could be as simple as that, right? Restrooms, stalls, sinks, and then it could be good, bad, poor, and then we can, receive and file, and then also look at where the issues are.
Yeah, that's perfect, yeah, and it really depends, obviously, on everyone's availability, and if they want to voluntarily do that. I could certainly do a certain amount of parks myself, but that would be, I think, a good way to save resources on your end.
I also think if the commission wants to go back to the old style of going on field trips, which I don't think Susie or myself or the city manager would be opposed to, then we could, commission certain sides, we could go on a couple field trips, we could get a bus and do that maybe when COVID ends, where we can get together a little bit more, so that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Then the other thing I wanted to mention is, obviously we talk about lack of resources quite a bit, and we all know the challenges we face. In the instances you're talking about, the other issue is, I can replace a soap dispenser every day. So those are things that we're trying to tackle. The three of us sitting here at these tables, we have conversations about this stuff regularly, and we definitely, myself and the team here try to be very proactive, what can we put in there that will not get vandalized, that will not get destroyed? It's like, why would somebody need toilet paper? We put toilet paper out, they hacksaw and steal the whole world. So there's a million things that happen that we don't know how to do. So definitely as part of that, not only knowing the need and the assessment, but we are open to any idea that could come back. Like I said, all those things you list right now are something that we tackle, we struggle with on a daily basis, that we want to use your community assets in productive ways, and fixing things as much as we want to get to it as fast as we can. It doesn't always work that way, because as soon as we fix it, it's broken instantly. So we're open to suggestions.
Yeah,
Definitely eyes and ears everywhere. Those are things that I'm always looking for. People to let us know what's going on. We want to be proactive and we want to be responsible.
Right, yeah, and I've always got the sense that that's the case, so there's no issue there. The normalcy or the recurrency of doing that, I think, is what I'm looking for. Something that we can say like every meeting, because we only meet, 6 times a year.
Correct.
So in order for us to be able to address these issues on a regular basis, I think it would be important for those kind of reports to be given and say, hey, this is what's going on at Del Norte, these are all the problems, this is all the problems here. Not to be too negative, but to at least address them, because I have a neighborhood watch that I do, for example, and the lieutenant will go over certain issues in our area. So, and we're able to talk about them, address them. I think the same will go for the park, so we can all be involved, because as a resident, I've always gotten that where, things kind of don't get addressed until they get really bad. So I think we have to be proactive in addressing any sort of issues that are occurring at any parks, whether it's facility related or crime, vandalism, and try to discuss it as a commission and what can we do. For example, instead of leaving that all on your shoulders as far as how can I do this, we can all discuss and try to figure out things as a commission.
Thank you. I like the idea of the field trips too. I like that. You always get more information, you always feel better when you're actually, you're walking it and you see it, you get a better feel for it. I like that. Anything else on the facility reports?
I just have one question.
Yes.
How does, with regards to what Commissioner Torres had sort of alluded to about maybe a field trip, doing inspections and all that. So once something like that happens, how does that fit into a wish list for the regular CIP budget? How does that fit into the city budget? Since it sounds like, forgive me, I'm new to the commission process, but it would seem to me that for CIP, you would have a proposed budget on certain activities, infrastructure improvements, and then during the budget process, that gets presented. Whether we have funding or not is one thing. But it would seem to me that that should have already been done somewhere, right? I could be wrong. I don't know. It's just a question.
It's a long discussion and a long answer, and there's a lot of history here, and being the guy that's been here for 20 years, two things happened. The list got really cumbersome. It turned into, we need $500 million in capital improvement projects. So as people have come and gone, and philosophies have changed and things like that, it's just kind of gone by, I don't want to say by the wayside, it's just changed. It's changed. We do have funding for special projects and lots of things that are done, but not much is available in general fund. So that's why we've become creative and talked about all of our county prop money and measures and any grants that we can apply for. And then that's why Dr. Zakala talked about it earlier, is worrying about the maintenance as well. So not just building it and maintaining it. So we've been trying to create that way. But if this commission so chooses to go back that route, we can definitely start making the wish list again. Things have changed because a lot of that process used to happen through the sports leagues. Jen has been with sports leagues and sports council for a long time, but I think you can attest too that sports council's changed.
Right.
So there's been another thing, there's been a shift in how youth sports is done and how things are reported and volunteerism, and there's been a lot of change, so it's a matter of staying with those trends and doing that. And I think this brings a perfect point to discuss how we're going to move forward and how we're going to relay that information to council.
Well, okay. The field trip sounds great.
Maybe we can, well, agendize it, but then also, just my thought, I think COVID's gonna live soon. Obviously, I hope COVID, I think a lot of our problems we discussed when the parks get back open, that will be a big help. But, maybe we can just start scheduling that, because we can get transportation and we can get the buses and start moving that.
Yeah, and I would kind of add to that in that it's field trips. I think that would definitely be positive, but you can. I would say individually is not far-fetched either. The other weekend I was able to take my kids out to about 4 parks, and I just visited. And I think Dave got about 50 requests from me on the app. Because I walked.
Keep sending them. I talked to the door. I talked to them. Keep sending them.
So I figured out. And to be honest, I rarely use it. I should use it more, but since I took those trips, but just for the other commissioners to consider, you don't necessarily have to wait for a field trip. You can visit the parks, and I was able to kind of look at all the, priorities for the playgrounds. I know that there's 5, right? And we'll talk about it soon. But I kind of looked at those and said, okay, yeah, this makes sense in the condition of each one and the bathrooms. So, I would just encourage everyone to do that if they have the time.
And does everyone know the app that Commissioner Torres is referring to, the Go Request app?
Yeah.
Everyone's familiar with it? Yeah.
Deb is the keeper of the Go Request app. Everything goes through Deb, and she deciphers it, and she does a fantastic job. I know that there's lots of, sometimes things don't happen as fast as you'd like, or whatever, but I would strongly encourage you all to have your friends, residents, report on that app. That's our eyes and ears. We definitely, no matter the problem, we always want to hear about it. We are constantly working on solutions. It doesn't happen as fast as we'd like sometimes, but we are always looking for solutions, and we do the best we possibly can.
Yeah, I have used that app, and as soon as you report something, you immediately generated a report number, which you can refer to, and you get updates, when it's been resolved.
As long as you put in email, you'll get updates. You have to put in an email to get the updates.
Oh.
Not everybody puts an email.
And not to toot the maintenance staff horn, but I am proud of you guys for this. As you see, most requests are done within a day.
Yeah.
It's not always the case, but, we do pride ourselves on trying to get there and get it resolved, and we will be there.
Yeah, I think you guys do a great job. I talked to Dave, and I'm amazed how fast things were getting done. So, yeah.
High praise from you, sir. High praise.
Actually, one more question on the app. One thing I noticed, on photos, on our iPhones, if whoever has iPhones, you could geotag, so it has like coordinates on the photo. So does the app have the capability of being able to identify those coordinates when you upload a photo and automatically pinpoint the area you took the photo?
It pinpoints the area from where your location is.
Okay.
So wherever you're submitting it from, if you don't put in an address, it automatically puts wherever you hit that submit button at. So if you go to a park and take a photo and then you come home and submit it from your home, but you don't put an address, it's gonna give your home address.
Okay, and is there any sort of modification that could be made to I guess, grab those coordinates from the geotag photo? If that option's available, I don't know if it is.
I'll ask the company that does the background of it. But as far as I know, it's just from wherever you actually hit the submit button at. It goes by your GPS signal on your phone, if you're doing it from a phone.
Yeah, if you could do that,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Okay.
I'm curious, make a comment on that. I tried to use the app, and I don't know, every time I use it, I can't use the one directly on the city, I have to go to YouTube. And like I submitted a report the other day, I was standing right at the spot, and it gave you an address that was over in Red Hook's area.
Is that through the website?
But the website, I narrowed it down to the park, but when it actually got sent, it was sent about half a mile away. But they responded to me, and I went on Google and got the exact coordinates, and then gave me the exact coordinates, because in the park it's hard to do.
Yeah.
You can't give an address because that's 10 acres or 12 acres, with one or the other. So it's kind of difficult, but I'm wondering if I'm doing it wrong by going to YouTube, because every time I go through the city app, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Maybe after this, we can look at your phone and see if you have the correct Go Request app. And then we can see exactly and do a test run.
Yeah.
And see how that's showing up on your phone.
You can do it on the actual app program, or if you have a web browser on your phone, you can do it through the web browser. Sometimes the web browser is easier. Depends on how you like to use it.
Yeah, the reason I asked was because when I had my kids with me, I wasn't able to report just because I had both of them. I didn't have the time to do that, so when I got home, I had about 50 photos, and like you said, it defaults to so I would have to figure out exactly where that was, drag the map, and it was very cumbersome, so I could imagine seniors having the difficulty. So that's why I was wondering if there would be an option where maybe it could still default to your location using GPS, but an option that allows you to upload or click something that says use a geotag photo, and then when you upload that, it'll just automatically
do it
where the photo was taken, and that would save, I guess, hours, depending on how many request you're gonna be making, so.
That's true.
That's kind of the angle I was coming at.
As long as you, even in the body, when you put in a description, if you put the park, I could tag it to it. So you don't have to drag it, just put Galster Park or Del Norte Park, baseball field. The more information you put in that description, it's better for me to find it, because I'll open a photo and have to think, where's that at? And then I'll move your map if it's not where it's supposed to be. But certain places like Shadow Oak, I don't know the whole park, I just know the center and the baseball field area. So sometimes I have to figure that out.
It also helps if the picture has context.
Right.
If you're near McDonald's and you can see the golden arches.
Right.
Makes it easier for the graffiti guy to know.
Correct. Yeah, I do it. When I respond, I have my Google Maps open, and I have my AGIS, which is it tells me what property it's on. And so I have to go to all these. So I have like 5 different tabs open just to respond to the whole
It's
app.
actually working. We've harvested now like 11,000 service requests. We give you the disposition, and we're getting a lot of utilization. So I want to make it better. If we can geotag the photos.
Yeah, that might be an option in the upgrade of the app, which we're working on. We have to get one more component.
Yeah, and the goal with that is just to make it more intuitive, to make it serve the public better.
Easier implementation.
I guess room in the contract, or, that's something that's extra, but if it could be looked into, I think that would help the help.
Yeah, they are looking to update the app, but we have another component on our end that we have to do to get it upgraded to the new app.
Perfect.
So we're working on that.
Thank you.
Anything else on this one? This is a receive and file item also, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, item number 9. You're up again, Mike. Measure A funded park project updates.
This is the stuff I want to talk about. This project, this Measure A project that we discussed, annually we get about $340,000 for Measure A, which is LA County Parks Regional Funds. We get $340,000, and then we get approximately just under $80,000 for maintenance that you can use on projects that is funded by Measure A funding. So this is the first one we're going to do. This is the first one that will be completed. Obviously, most of you are new members on this commission, but the previous commission selected this project, and the design for the project is here. And I think what's really cool about this project is it's at Shadow Oak. It's up on the upper level of Shadow Oak Park. I don't know if you've been there or not, but this is a new tower feature. So it's going to be really a tower, but it's going to be overlooking the lower plateau. So I think when the kids get up there, it's going to be a really neat feature and make them feel really high. I think we definitely try to make all of our parks unique, make something stand out in each park, each location that they can use. And that, like I said, that's construction started last week, so the Shadow Oak Park is closed. I apologize, Robert, we missed it by a day, but the park is closed now. They have taken out the old equipment. Delivery of the new equipment will be here next week, Monday, and hope to have it completed by May. So, like I said, this project did take approximately 17 months, but there was a learning curve. The original, when the funding, there was some court battle, not with us, but with LA County about the funding, about whether they were allowed or not, so that's slowed the process down. But that being said, that's been all worked out. We're getting our annual allocation, and we'll be moving on to the next project. The thing to know about Measure A funding is that this has a community outreach component. So the commission has made a list. The previous commission made a list of the parks in the most need, and we're going to start doing community outreach and working on doing those projects. But the community has to agree to that. And Measure A funding is eligible for quite a few things. It can be pooled together over 5 years, so if you wanted to do a project for $1.5 million, you could do that. With the previous commissions, we discussed that our playgrounds here are in need of replacement. We have 16 parks, and we'll have about, after this year, we'll have about 6 playgrounds done, which is a big improvement for us as far as things done in the last 10 years. But playgrounds are a high liability area, and it is something that we need to improve on. So we've taken this approach not only to take care of some liability, but also have M&S funds to make sure we can keep that equipment nice. Like I said, we'll be meeting, the CIP committee will be meeting shortly, and we'll start working on that. Out of the projects, the next Measure A project will be the last one started because we do have the CDBG funding we have to expend. We also received Prop 68 money. So we'll be doing those two first, but we will be starting the community outreach for the next Measure A project shortly, and this commission is a big part of that. It's usually a part of the meeting. So we'll do a town hall meeting or something of that nature that people can come in, express what they want. There's a couple different exercises, you can do different things. So that was part of it. But it is exciting that we will be having a ribbon cutting soon. We haven't done one in quite a while. So that is some positive news coming to the community, and we'll be, in May we'll be done. So that's my report.
Excellent. It's good to have some positive news.
I agree.
Yes.
When are we going to start on Galveston? Do you have any idea?
Well, Gulfster, that's what I was just discussing. Because of the urgency of the other two playgrounds and get that money spent, we'll start that first. The next process for Gulfster will be the community outreach. The ad hoc committee might start working on designs. We've already reached out to vendors to give designs because what happens with the ad hoc committee is a presentation is made. We have different vendors come in and say, hey, what's the latest and greatest? Show us what they're working on, what they're doing, make their presentations, and the commission picks designs, then it comes back to commission, and then it goes to council. So we'll probably start the design process because we're doing it, because we're going to try to move fast. But it will not be officially approved until we do the community outreach portion. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So technically, the ad hoc committee could pick a playground. We go to community outreach, and the community says they don't want it. Then we have to shift gears. But since we're doing the other stuff, we are going to probably work on design and work simultaneously to make the process move faster. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Yes, is it going to be pretty much the same things being put into Shadow Oak Park as Friendship Park, workout equipment, like?
Well, to be honest with you, we leave design to the commission. I mean, it's your community. Obviously, we're here working for you, but it's your community. That has not been the past. That is not what has been done in the past. Like I said, we look for things to be unique. For example, just because we have a tower at Shadow Oak doesn't mean we're going to put a tower at Friendship. We put in Shadow Oak is kind of away from the residents' houses, so there's some musical equipment aspects for the younger ages. The 0 to 5 has some stuff like that. But at Friendship, it backs up to somebody's house. So I don't know if we want to put, bells in that kids can bang on next to somebody's house,
Right.
So the commission gets to pick that. The latest and greatest has been usually, we're looking for the new things, like the goals to be modern. And, ad hoc committee will decide that, then it'll come to commission. Suggestions are made there, and once the commission agrees on it, it goes to council. But no, things have not been the same. A lot of the same features, there's slides, things like that, but in the past, we've been looking for a unique aspect in every part.
Great, thank you, appreciate that.
I like that.
Do you know, so then how is it going to work with all the project priorities then? So we're going to, I guess, attack the Friendship first. And then, I guess once we get a certain distance on that, we're going to go back to what project next?
Well, there's more than just playground projects, because obviously there's the dog park project. We're looking at park bathrooms. We have a couple of park bathrooms that are going to be out there. So things can move concurrently.
So then with this Friendship, the new found money for Friendship, would that slow down the dog park?
No, it should not. It should not. There's unique aspects of everything. So as reports come in, you'll start hearing more of that. Like the dog park, we're at the phase where we're working on drawing and design, and it's a multitude of designs. And then from there, we'll decide where we're going to go. And it could be just doing maintenance and servicing, or it could be extending the park. It could be a lot of things. But there could be, funding is going to be the dog park issue. Funding will be the issue. Do we need more funding? What do we want to do? What can we use? Can we use Measure A? Because it's a possibility that Measure A funding could be used for the dog park instead of a playground. Or maybe there's PDF money. There's a lot of different things that can happen. But each thing's in different phases. But the playgrounds do not affect the dog park.
Yeah, that was just my concern, because I know that a lot of residents have been kind of upset about it, just having taken so long and the process. So my worry is that having Friendship now kind of urgent, that gets further delayed. There's nothing, I guess, to show for the dog park I know that.
Dave and I both met with engineering today, and we told them where we're going with the dog park, and we're pushing it. You've known me for quite a while. I told you that after Shadow Oak, dog park was going to be next. That's not changing regardless of friendship or not. We're working the playgrounds and the dog park concurrently. And to be frank, we would work Gulfster concurrently as well, except we need the community outreach portion.
Right.
If it wasn't for the community outreach portion, we would try to push all 4 projects at once, and then we have a couple other park bathrooms and things as well. So we are not pushing anything else because of that.
And for shifting to Shadow Oak, what's our plan, I guess? I don't know if there is a plan, but are we doing any sort of community outreach plan for that? Because one of the components that I was trying to look at was that community outreach positivity, right? Sometimes cities, like for example ours, right? Sometimes we have a lot of negativity. So I was thinking that our outreach efforts as far as the ribbon cutting, what are we doing, like, to let people know, like, hey, this is a positive thing happening in our city. Are we reaching out to like the Tribune? Are we asking other dignitaries, other elected officials to come and say, hey, I guess what are we doing on social media? Are we really making an effort to make sure, hey, this is happening in West Covina? Because a lot of the times, people just don't even know. Right?
My hope is to work with Susie, because Susie is she works social media, does that. My hope is to do the biggest opening we can do, because we haven't done anything that big in a while. But that being said, COVID is the unknown factor. I don't know if it's going to be, hey, there's a soft opening, and then when the pandemic slips and the playgrounds are open, it's a bigger opening. I don't know if that's something that we'll have to discuss with council, with the CM. I don't have an answer for you. But I can tell you that Susie and I want to do the biggest push we can with dignitaries, social media, publish, press, all of it.
And Mike actually requested that we post on social media in regards to the work being done at the park, at the playground at Shadow Oak. And I was just mentioning to him yesterday that it got a lot of positive feedback on there and a lot of traction on the Instagram page. So there was dialect on there, and then obviously we can see the insights. And so it was probably one of the most popular posts that we've had in a while. So I just shared that with him yesterday.
Well, there's some good news. This gentleman and me are admin on West Covina Buzz. Okay? And we have over 11,000 members.
12,500.
It's going up every minute. So, we're more than happy, would you agree, to publicize all of this that will at least reach 12,000 members. So, that's pretty good. And, because you're right, it's all, when you talk about the Tribune, nobody reads the Tribune. Okay? Nobody.
I do.
One person. Call me a liar. One person. You're the one.
We all cancel.
We did too. I canceled it too.
All my neighbors have canceled.
So, it's social media, Instagram and, and Facebook and all that. That's how you communicate with people, today. So.
One idea I was thinking, and it's kind of a far out thing, I don't know if anyone's willing to do it, but kind of like an active outreach where, hey, this is happening, this is construction, like construction updates, and actually have somebody on like Instagram, on Facebook, speaking, not necessarily just a post, maybe a video, and say, hey, we're here at Shadow Oak, we're working on a park, construction going on, and post something like that, because I've noticed that generally gets more traction when there's a video, just because people enjoy watching rather than just reading. So, but we would have to find someone who wants to do that and is willing to come to go on camera.
We look forward to getting our limited service back. I've been, I'm the old guy in the room, I don't do social media. I know, I don't communicate that way, I still call. But Susie and I discuss this all the time. And, this is something that when things get back to whatever the new normal is, that we hope we can have Scott do that. Please, this is things we discussed, so please elaborate if you want.
Yeah. It sounds like outreach has come out in a couple of different areas. It sounds like maybe someone's interested in put that on the agenda and have like a full discussion, and maybe we'll get some ideas or something. It keeps hitting. I feel like talking about it without fully preparing or whatever, just
yeah, I agree.
Okay, I guess we can move along. ad hoc committee reports. Are there any ad hoc committee reports this time? Next meeting.
Those wouldn't be applicable tonight because you were just assigned to your
Right.
ad hoc committee.
Yeah. Okay, commissioners' reports.
Yeah, so
Dr. Zach?
yeah, so trying to go through how we can tackle poverty without taking resources from other people and other locations. So in discussions with West Community Unified, we kind of got a preliminary approval on a paid internship program for the homeless and foster children of the West Community Unified School District. And the paid part would not come from the school or come from the business. So it can be pretty cool where, you know, a struggling local business that has great mentors or great, you know, they're a great leader of a business, but they need a helping hand in these struggling times, can get some student help. And then the bigger part of it, the bigger value would be struggling students who, some of these students live from couch to couch or van to van or from motel to motel, who have not seen more than just a very limited scope of life to be able to go out and see more. And the vision behind it all is to get an abundance mindset in our most vulnerable population so that at one point when they go on, whether they go to college or they go to the workforce, they have bigger dreams than just what they've been exposed to. And so we'll pilot it with a small group of students for our West Community Unified homeless foster kids. And if it goes well, then we have proof of concept, and then we could do more with it and open it up bigger. Already, Royal Oak has been asking, they kind of did something similar. There's questions about, you know, the whole list of, you can just think of on and on, all the questions that come, but we're tackling them all one by one. But I think that's great from the school district that they're happy with that. I think it's great from the business community that's been welcoming to that idea. So it's just something to announce and bring up. And there'll be more work on that. Generally speaking with the commission, I like the commission because you can keep a low profile to get more done. You know, I just kind of want to caution for picking up some high profile agendas, you know. You tend to not get as much done if you got too many eyes on you, is what I've noticed. Now, some people have the opposite experience, that's fine. And the other thing is, I've noticed when it comes to the team, which is really you guys that do it all behind the camera and behind the tables, the city staff, it's good when the commission is not asking the city staff to do more, but alleviating the workload from the city staff. It's kind of like a pretty nice niche that the commission can play, like, well, how can we help? You know, you've been struggling with this. We hear the high profile topic, you've been struggling with it. How can we help? But yeah, the main announcement is paid internship, West Community Unified School District, no money from the district, no money from the city, no money from that local business. So it's pretty cool.
Very good. We like that part of no money. You could have just said that.
Is there anything like you can provide through email, or is there some sort of Facebook page or any sort of material on it?
No, I don't. Well, I mean, I'm sure they do press release stuff. I put my time and effort in like getting a kid to a mentor with money in their pocket. That's where my time's going. The press stuff, I'm sure you guys are much better at that stuff.
Okay, do we still have a calendar of nonprofit events? So we avoid conflicts and things like that?
So we have a community service group meeting scheduled for next week. And when we send out an agenda, we'll go ahead and ask for that to make sure that there's no conflicts. I know that there was that conflict in December. We want to go ahead and eliminate those types of things. And there has been another request for the November meeting because I believe the Knights of Columbus have something that conflicts with, I think it's all of those Thanksgiving distributions. So those are items that I am aware of, and I will make sure that there isn't a conflict and that we are all on the same page and have a schedule for the year, get that out to you guys as well.
Okay, any other commission reports?
Yes. So I was able to have this printed out. I think you said you have it in the packet. So the reason I wanted to print it out is because this is one of the topics I wanted to discuss hopefully at a special meeting, if everyone agrees. The topic is, well, this specific model, it's called Cahoots. Essentially, the program is run in Eugene, Oregon right now. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a program with the Whitebird Clinic, who's the institution that runs it. But it's something that I thought we should consider speaking about and discussing at the commission. So Cahoots, it stands for Crisis Assistance Helping Out on the Streets. They're essentially an arm to help address homelessness, mental health, substance abuse, and they're staffed with a team of mental health professional and an EMT. And what essentially they do is they respond to non-violent crimes, say someone's having a nervous breakdown, alcoholism, drug addiction, what have you, anything that's non. And Eugene, Oregon's been doing this for 30 years. So if you look at this pamphlet, it has highlights certain things. One of the biggest highlights that I thought was interesting was the Cahoots was able to answer 24,000 calls for the city, and the police were only involved in 150 of those. And then also, on an annual basis, they saved about $8.5 million in their budget from using the program, from diverting police calls. I think they used an average of like $800 for each call. So I know right now, for example, in our city we have a financial issue. Some people might even say it's a crisis, right? We're not in the best financial state. And the other crisis we're dealing with is homelessness. And there's another issue with crime. So I thought this would be something that we could discuss and hopefully come up with some sort of recommendation after maybe 1 or 2 meetings that we can make to the city council regarding exploring this, looking at it. And as an advisory body, all we can do is make a recommendation, but at least discuss it amongst ourselves. And so that's one item I wanted to bring up. And the second item was addressing the issues that I guess have been commented on at council meetings and also here tonight regarding the racism, violence, hate crimes. I know that we've had hate crime in the city recently. There's issues of racism that came up today. We've had a lot of violence, even some murders. A young lady was murdered, I think, near the intersection of Amar and Azusa. So I think we really need to start talking about it. And at least from my experience watching these meetings as a resident prior to being on the commission, it really hasn't come before the commission. It's more parks, CBDG, all these other topics. But if you look at what our purview falls under, it's human rights and human relations. We also cover that. So I just wanted to see if we could have a discussion on that. And as some of the residents mentioned, San Diego, the city of San Diego has a HEAR commission. That's a commission specifically focused on those types of issues where they listen to residents, they're empathetic, they hear what they have to say, and they are able to develop recommendations to their city council for any sort of policy modifications, changes, improvements, somehow, some ways that we can help. And I know that Susie mentioned that she has those resources available now too, so that I think she would be an excellent resource to be part of that discussion. And obviously there's a lot of components to this. There's the crime component, the law enforcement, which is not under our purview, but I think we need to really look at how can we, as a city, be more empathetic, hear their concerns, and try to develop something on that end, and have a forum, a safe place for them to actually discuss things like this. So that's the second item I wanted to discuss. So if we could have a special meeting to talk about both the cahoots and then maybe developing a HERE commission.
What does HERE stand for? Is there an acronym?
It is an acronym, yeah, and I can't remember for the acronym right now, but essentially it's a commission that hears issues related to human rights, racism, hate crimes, anything that is related to issues they're having that can't be solved by, say, law enforcement agencies. There's no laws being broken, but there's an issue there.
So you're talking about creating a separate independent commission?
That's what we'll discuss. Since it's not agendized, that's why I wanted to agendize it and talk about it, but as a default, right now, we're that commission. And if we can't, I guess, if we determine we can't do it as a commission, if we're not, I guess, educated enough or we're not aware enough of those issues, that might be a consideration to develop a separate commission. Or if we determine, hey, we can handle it, we can talk about these things, we're well informed, we're able to assist them, then maybe it's not necessary. But at least we should have the discussion, because I think it's an important thing to address as a community service. To hear them, to listen to them, and to create a safe space for them to discuss it. And there's a lot of examples, like the San Diego Tribune. Unfortunately, I read it. They recently published a story about a rise in hate crimes against Asian and Pacific Islanders. We had a hate crime, like I mentioned earlier, in our city, where a resident's house was vandalized and tagged with hate speech on it. And he was a member of an LGBT community. There's all these issues that I don't think are really being talked about at our level. So that's why I wanted to have this special meeting, because they're unique items. It might not necessarily relate to parks or to infrastructure that we normally talk about. So it would be good to kind of have a separate meeting just to talk about those issues and then see where that goes from there.
Yeah, I'm fine with having the discussion and talking about it. I think ultimately the city council will be the one that have to take substantive action. At the end of the day, everyone's going to have to do it.
Right.
So is that a motion from,
Yeah, I wanted to make a motion to agendize a special meeting, call for a special meeting, but I guess availability would have to be explored after the fact, unless we want to set a date certain today.
I wouldn't mind setting a date,
Okay, so.
so you would need a second first?
Is there a second on the motion?
What is the motion?
For a special meeting, so it would be prior to our May meeting, so it would probably be, it could be next week or whenever everyone's available, but a special meeting to discuss those two items. One being exploring the option of implementing the model like cahoots, and then the second would be to discuss those issues I talked about related to racism, hate crimes, violence, and how we can address that, and what recommendations we can make to the city council.
An additional meeting?
One meeting or two meetings?
Just those two items on the special meeting.
On one meeting?
Yeah.
And it's an additional meeting aside from this meeting. And would all of us have to be there?
I don't know if you have to.
You would need a quorum. You would need a quorum, and you would still need to vote on it today. It's something that can also be agendized for the next upcoming meeting when would that be, in May? So that's also an option, but Commissioner Torres is requesting a special meeting specifically just for those two items currently. But it needs a motion, it needs a second, and it needs a roll call.
And then just to follow up, the reason, just to clarify, for the special meeting, it's for I guess the urgency to look at these things, since there is an issue. And I would want to have multiple discussions, so that if we waited till the May meeting, we wouldn't be able to make any sort of recommendation to the city council until July, I believe, right? That would be our next meeting. So, and then also because it's a unique topic, to kind of make it separate from what we normally talk about.
Is there a second?
Awesome.
Second?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a motion by Torres, second by Williams.
Now, we probably don't have any discussion on it, other than what we just done. Because, I wanted to make kind of a comment. We had a whole bunch of people here that had a problem. I don't know how this commission can really solve that problem. I mean, I know who's probably the other person that's been here. And I was born in 1942 in Texas. So when it comes to racism, I'm the number one candidate for knowing what it's like. They do have a problem, but I don't know, even they going through a lot of issues as a child and as an adult, how we as a group or commissioning group can solve that problem. And is what you're talking about, this Sharuk group, and also the discussion, going to try and find a way for us to present something to the city council to...
Yeah, so that, you're exactly right, because what we would initially do is discuss it as a commission, I believe, like, you know, like attempt to do what we think we can within our capacity. And then that other option would be to determine, like, if we're not the right forum, should we recommend that a separate commission, say for example with commissioners who have the, you know, background in mental health or crisis intervention, what have you, if that's necessary, or if we can take on that role ourselves. So that's what the meeting would be about, to discuss these things.
Do you want to maintain that second?
Yeah.
Okay, roll call?
Please.
And just to confirm, the meeting will be a special meeting just to agendize those two items that was brought up by Commissioner Torres. Commissioner Gutierrez? Commissioner Molina not present. Commissioner Munoz? Commissioner Nguyen?
Aye.
Commissioner Valles?
Abstaining.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Zaklama, sorry.
Abstain.
And Commissioner Torres?
Aye.
Commissioner Redholz?
We have two abstentions?
Yes.
I'm going to abstain too. Abstain.
Okay. So,
What does that mean, since it's my first?
okay, did you vote? So you have yes or no, abstain or yes to have the meeting?
No, he's asking what abstain is.
Oh, so no, decline the meeting.
Oh, okay. I'm
Neutral.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm abstaining.
Abstain isn't declining the meeting.
No, abstain.
Oh, so
It's being neutral.
No is being
neutral.
Okay, I'm
Abstain in just neutral position.
You're not taking a position.
So is that considered, if you guys can help me with that, is that considered a no?
It's a tie.
It's not a yes, correct?
No, it's a tie. It's 4-4.
It's 4-4?
Oh, no, wait. Gutierrez.
There's
There's
one
none.
that's not here.
Okay.
So it needs.
Yes, it's a tie, so another motion has to be made. Either to agendize it for the next meeting, which will be in May.
The issue is whether we wanted to have a special meeting, so.
Correct.
I don't think there's any issue with addressing it. So I guess if you're not comfortable having a special meeting, then we'll address it at the May meeting. That would be the alternative motion.
And this is a good point because you don't need a motion to put something on the agenda, right?
No.
Correct. It was a motion to have the special meeting.
You can definitely, whatever you want on the agenda generally, you can just have it on the agenda.
No, I understood that before. The reason I needed the meeting to happen sooner because I thought that it was, because if we're going to discuss it, I thought we might as well discuss it as soon as we could. But, it's not, if it's not to the pleasure of the rest of the commission, we'll wait till May.
So you still want it agendized for next meeting, though?
Agendize it for me.
Well, I'm gonna,
No, the only issue would
be
be that
agenda, so.
if for some reason the agenda, it's fine with the agenda we have today, do we have any sort of issues with like the number of items? No, right?
No, and it'll give us, that's the next item on the agenda here, item to be placed on the agenda. So we'll make sure to make a note of that. And then if there's anybody else that wants anything itemized or agendized.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I have an item, I'd kind of like to have a status report on Big League Greens Sports Park, theoretically. You know, I know there's some, you know, things going on over there, and it's kind of the forgotten park. You know, and at the time, back in '08, you know, we fought for years to, you know, to save that from going Superfund, and, you know, and then we got Big League Greens in with all these high hopes. But I just kind of like to know what's going on over there.
Noted.
And one other thing.
Back up, is there any other information you want there? I just want to make sure we're prepared when we come in. Is there some, you know?
Well, I'd kind of like to know what's going, I mean, I haven't been up there myself in a long time, so I don't know what's going on up there. Do they still have softball tournaments? Do they still have any events there? I'd like to know the you know.
The activity that is happening in the facility.
Yeah, that kind of a thing. And I mean, I realize that it's a, you know, it is falls under the heading of a city park. We own the park, right? And we had an operator in there that was managing it and maintaining it and, you know, securing it and staffing it, but I think they're gone. So I kind of like to know what are we looking at down the road for that park as to who's going to, you know, run it, take care of it.
I can't agree with her, but it's supposed to be a city owns it. And Big League Dreams is supposed to be managing it. And none of us know, at least as the public know, are we almost paid off? Or we close to being paid off? What's happening up there, we have no idea. And I think that a lot of people, I've been like him, for almost 20 years and I haven't seen a report yet, even though people have asked for it. So.
Well, that's what, you know, I mean, yeah, we'll get a report, we'll talk about it when it's on the agenda, you know, get a little more into it.
Didn't they have a restaurant up there too?
They have 2 restaurants there.
Are they open?
I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't been up there.
It was featured quite prominently on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, I'll tell you that. You know, they call it home base on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. We got to get another TV show, Mr. Carmody, so we can get some more publicity for the city. And one other thing, I notice when I go for my little walks in the paseos, that we have a lot of dogs, which is great, that we have in the city. People take their dogs out for a walk. But some people need to know that those paseos aren't a dog toilet. You know, and I'm just wondering, do we have any signage anywhere? Can we put some signage up to, you know, to please clean up after your dog? And maybe, you know, have a little, get somebody to donate or, you know, contribute some little baggies for them or something like that to make it convenient, because you go walking in there and it's just, you know, it's not pleasant.
There are baggie dispensers, not, you know, not everywhere in the sales, but they're throughout, and we're having the same issue that we're having at the dog park. People are taking the baggies. As fast as we put them out, they disappear. So, you know, I don't have a, you know, we can definitely look at signage, we can look at other, you know, we can look at, you know, more dispensers, things of that nature, but it is it's very similar to the hand dryers. It's one of those issues that we are struggling with at not only that location, but any location that we put back.
There's a lot of people that, you know, that live in the area, and Alfred will, you know, the sales people walk, there's a lot of walking going on, which is great, and a lot of dog walking. And when I see people, you know, that and their dog does its business, and they're there with it, I make sure to, you know, thank you so much for picking up after your dog. You know, really appreciate that. Keep the park clean. You know, but other people, I'll say, we're going to clean that up. You know, what are you doing? You know, so maybe if there was some, I don't know, some problems, there's no solution. You know, it's human nature. Either they're going to do it or they're not. A sign's not going to help. But I mean, maybe somebody might just, we can convince people least to keep, clean up after their dog.
Maybe we can create something where the dog bags are, where it'd be restrictive so they can only take one bag at a time. Because I see those things where they can grab, and actually they can just grab a whole bunch of them with one grab. So if, at least if it's modified maybe, where they can only get one at a time, it's more likely somebody would catch them, or they probably wouldn't, it would deter them from taking the whole thing, you know?
We'll look at alternative dispensers and see what possibilities. I think technically the system we have now is supposed to work that way, but you're right, you can get like a stack that way, so there might be something a little bit better than that.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
We could do a show off you collecting your, picking up after your dog campaign.
Yeah, that'd be good. Positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Something fun, like.
Now that we're on the subject of dog animals.
You say dog.
Thanks, Herb. I've actually seen a lot of members on my page complaining that because of this, people would ask, where is a safe place for me to walk my animal or whatever. We recommend the dog park. And there'll be a lot of feedback from members saying, I'll never take my dog back there again because there's people that take their dog there and they bit my dog and I call the police. By the time they come, the person's gone and they keep returning, so I just don't go anymore. So is there, I can't think of any idea, but is there any way we can make that place safer for our community to take their dogs there for a fun day out, with, and maybe some kind of solution for these people that bring their dogs there to bully other dogs? I don't know, maybe we can put that on the agenda or something.
You would like that agendized?
I think so,
Options for a safer dog park? And I know there's gonna be upgrades coming up here in the near future. I mean, again, it comes back to, I think that thing that Herb was saying is, you think that dog owners would have the common courtesy and the common sense to watch after their dogs. But definitely we can put that on the agenda, that's not a
I don't know if it's worth it, but this is my first one, so I don't want to do it.
I don't know if you're asking for general discussion or there's, we're switching over animal control. We were within the valleys and we're going back to LA County. It might be a matter of it might be a matter of asking for extra patrol for ticketing, for enforcement. I'm sorry, not ticketing, but enforcement.
Right.
So, we can definitely discuss that. PE is going to be overseeing animal control, so we can relay the message and do what needs to be done. So I don't know if we go further discussion or we're just looking at enforcement. I'm not sure.
No, because there's people that always recommend other dog parks around the area, so I don't know if it's a good idea to collaborate with them and find out what do they do different than what we do, because for some reason, our dog park is the only one getting, pretty much in the area, getting bad reviews, you know what I mean, and having bad experiences, and we want to try to make that better. Maybe we can put a list of numbers or hotlines for people to call, or something to deter the ones that are making it bad for everybody.
If I may suggest, the dog park is the project on the list right now. We are working on drawings, and I think a lot of the reason that we get the reviews we do is something we discuss here all the time, which is maintenance. So when we look at the dog park, we're looking at ways we can keep the turf nice, keep holes filled, water fountains taken care of, bowls, things of that nature. I'm almost wondering, since that is so close, and something we're going to bring to the commission, is this something that we can address at that time? Because we're also going to be looking at changing the name of the dog park as well, because of some copyright issues. But is this something that can be tackled all at once, or would you like it separate?
Right.
Because we're working on paying a landscape architect to come up with drawings and plans now, so we can come to the commission and say, hey, here's what we're thinking, what do you guys want to do?
Right.
So is that something that can all be encompassed in one conversation, or would you like it separate?
I'm not sure.
I would say one conversation instead.
One conversation.
We can talk about all the issues.
Okay.
And you were thinking May for that, or when would you come back?
We're trying to, we're ironing out a couple things because of funding sources, but we're finding the funds to get the drawings done so we can give the public, the commission and the public an actual visual of what the options would be. And there's 3 different options there. We talk about staying in the same footprint, we talk about expanding, we talk about adding other features, and figuring out what's feasible.
So George, what if we provide you just with a brief status update as to what the status is with the dog park project overall?
Sure, that would be great. And I'm not saying that we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
It's just that, just trying to address the issues, that's all. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
I was going to suggest just the same thing as you, that for you, the staff, to bring in the ideas of what you had in mind, and that way we can discuss those ideas at our next meeting. Because I know when I had my little dog and I used to walk him, and no one had to tell me I had to pick up. You do it because it's you. And regardless of what you do, you put the bag there, they're not going to carry. I used to carry. I even used to carry extra to give to whoever was there. And so I think the idea of the staff coming in, bringing us what they're planning on doing, moving the park or whatever they're going to do, now we can discuss it at that point.
Sure.
Yeah, and that could be done in May, right?
Yeah, so it'll just be a brief update as to what the status is on the dog park project, and we will include that in, I guess.
And then that's when we can have the discussion about all the issues.
Well, the discussion on all of the issues and how we're going to proceed with the dog park will be when we start those meetings for the implementation of the new project. So in May, if it's ready, in May, then go ahead.
I hope to tell you yes. I just can't tell you 100% that the conceptual drawings are going to be done.
Right.
So that's the holdup.
Yeah.
My hope would be to come in May, but I can't tell you 100% today that that's going to happen.
So it'll be a status update.
Yeah. If the conceptual drawings are done, we'll definitely bring them here first. We definitely bring them in May. I just don't know, I don't know the time frame on that.
Right, yeah, gotcha.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I think that's it. Is that it?
I move that we call it I'm freezing.
It is cold. It is cold.
Yeah.
It's almost ready, we should do it.
We need to build a fire.
Enough room in the middle.
Oh, it's only 60
Good motion to adjourn.
I'd like to thank you all for your service and the new members welcome you to this commission.
Thank
Great
you.
to have you, and I know you'll find a meaningful way to give of your time in town and make it all better. I'm just grateful for you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Dave, I want to apologize for not recognizing you when I was walking in. It's with the mask, we don't realize who we're speaking to, but.
My goal as a city manager is to be invisible. If I were to die, I'd want everyone to say,
You know that I've known you since you were in the 20s. I have been the campaign there. I got told,
Or do you want to go ahead and adjourn the meeting?
Yes. Meeting is adjourned.
At
At
8:33.
8:33.